There is a specific suffocating kind of silence that occurs right in the middle of a crowded room. You are sitting at a table with people you have known for years. The ambient noise of the restaurant fades into a dull roar. They are laughing, complaining about the same co-workers, dissecting the same interpersonal dramas, and recycling the same anxieties they have held tightly for a decade. And suddenly you realize something terrifying. You no longer speak their language. You smile, you nod, you offer the expected responses. But an invisible pane of glass has dropped between you and the world you used to inhabit. You are physically present, but psychologically you have already packed your bags and left. You are not better than them. You are not superior. But you are unmoored. You feel a profound aching loneliness, not because you are physically isolated, but because the avatar you used to play in their lives, the version of you that fit perfectly into their puzzle, no longer exists. This is the psychological waiting room. The void. The liminal space between the person you were and the person you are becoming. It is the most dangerous and the most necessary phase of human development. When the old coping mechanisms have been dismantled, but the new emotional architecture has not yet dried. You have stopped participating in the noise, but you have not yet found comfort in the silence. If you're in this space right now, you likely feel defective. You wonder if you're losing your mind or if your withdrawal is a sign of depression. You're tempted to run back to the familiar chaos just to feel a sense of belonging. Do not run back. Understand what is happening to you. Modern psychology refers to this period as positive disintegration. It is the necessary collapse of a self-concept built on external conditions. But long before clinical psychology, the Stoics understood this brutal transition as the inevitable cost of philosophy. Epictetus, a man who spent his early life in chains, warned his students about the social toll of taking ownership of one's mind. He did not tell them that philosophy would make them charismatic leaders or that it would command the respect of their peers. He warned them of the exact opposite. He said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Why? Because the old version of you was a negotiated settlement. Your identity was not yours. It was a patchwork quilt of what your parents expected, what your friends tolerated, and what society rewarded. You built a personality designed to extract validation and minimize conflict. When you begin to study Stoicism, when you actually begin to practice emotional restraint, when you stop outsourcing your self-worth to the opinions of the crowd, you break the social contract. You stop playing your assigned role. The profound loneliness you feel right now is not a malfunction. It is the withdrawal symptom of an ego that is no longer being fed by external approval. You're experiencing the death of a dependency. To navigate this crossing, we must examine the internal mechanics of this isolation and why the human mind fights so violently against its own liberation. Think about how much of your daily energy used to be spent managing other people's perceptions of you. You over-explained your decisions. You joined in on gossip to feel a sense of camaraderie. You engaged in arguments to prove your intelligence. You absorbed the anxieties of others to prove your loyalty. When you strip those behaviors away, what is left a massive echoing expanse of time and energy. Psychologically, your brain is addicted to the biochemical spikes of social interaction, even negative ones. Drama, defensiveness, and people-pleasing provide a sense of momentum. When you adopt a Stoic framework, when you realize that the opinions of others are external to your prohairesis, your inner faculty of choice, you cut off that turbulent energy supply. In the beginning, this peace does not feel peaceful. It feels like a void. It feels like a phantom limb. You will find yourself wanting to defend a boundary, wanting to over-explain why you are staying home, wanting to prove you are right in a disagreement. You will reach for the familiar weapon of justification only to realize you have chosen to lay it down. This loneliness is the feeling of sitting with your own raw reality without the numbing agent of other people's drama. You must learn to sit in this empty room without turning on the television of social conflict. As you quietly change, do not expect the world to applaud you. In fact, expect friction. When you stop reacting to provocations, people will call you cold. When you establish boundaries, they will call you arrogant. When you stop participating in shared misery, they will accuse you of thinking you are better than them. This is a critical, psychological mechanism to understand people construct their reality based on the predictable behaviors of those around them. When you change, you become unpredictable. You threaten their equilibrium. By refusing to be miserable or reactive or desperate for approval, you inadvertently hold up a mirror to their own lack of control. They will try to pull you back. They will use guilt, mockery, or sudden crises to test if the old you is still in there. This is not because they are evil. It is because they are terrified of their own stagnation. The Stoic must accept a hard, unromantic truth. Growth requires leaving people behind. Not maliciously, not with a grand declaration of your superiority, but quietly. You must accept that you will be deeply misunderstood by people you once loved. They will narrate a story in their minds where you are the villain or the strange one, or the one who changed for the worse. You cannot control their narrative, and attempting to correct their misunderstanding is just another way of begging for their validation. True independence means letting them be wrong about you. The greatest trap in this transitional phase is the desire to replace your old audience with a new one. You shed the people-pleasing habits, but you secretly hope that someone somewhere is noticing how incredibly calm and stoic you are becoming. You want the reward of being recognized as strong. You want your quiet power to yield a social dividend. But Stoicism is not a performance. It is an internal citadel. The transition ends only when you realize that there is no audience, and there never was. The strength you are building is entirely invisible. It will not win you arguments. It will not make you the center of attention. It will, in fact, make you incredibly uninteresting to people who thrive on chaos. You are building a house that only you will live in. The loneliness begins to fade, not when you find a new tribe of perfect like-minded philosophers, but when you stop needing a tribe to validate your existence. You transition from feeling lonely to feeling solitary. Loneliness is the poverty of self. Solitude is the richness of self. In this space, you discover that you do not need to be deeply understood by the world. You only need to be understood by yourself. You stop demanding that reality and the people in it conform to your preferences. You let the world be noisy, and you allow yourself to be quiet. There is no triumphant finish line to this transition. You will not wake up one day to a parade in your honor. The people who misunderstood you yesterday will likely misunderstand you tomorrow. The external world will remain as chaotic, demanding, and indifferent as it has always been. The only thing that changes is the weight of it all. You will eventually realize that the heavy, agonizing loneliness you feel right now is actually the sensation of dropping a burden you were never meant to carry. You are grieving the loss of a prison you decorated yourself. Look back at that old version of you, the one who scrambled for breadcrumbs of approval, the one who contorted into uncomfortable shapes just to fit into rooms that were too small. Let that version die. Bury it without apology. And as you stand here in the dark, in the quiet, uncomfortable space between who you were and who you are becoming, ask yourself, what if this silence you are running from is not an exile, but a sanctuary? What if this profound loneliness is the only place where you can finally, truly meet yourself? The bridge behind you is burning. There is no way back. And that is exactly as it should be.